Hi. Yesterday I worked on a video showing how to do 2 Kings 6 verse 1, and today I'm going to continue with verse 2. So we're working from the TND, and it says, please let us go to the River Jordan, um, and so let's start with that sentence. Just to see what it says literally. Please let us go to the Jordan. Okay, so we have a way to say, let us do something. It's called the suggestive let's. I don't think we have an automatic way to do that. We have a notation that's in this document, Summary of Specialized Notation, underscore suggestive let's, marks a verb in a clause that requires a feature suggestive let's under the elocutionary force. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, I paused while I typed that in, so I'm back now. So we do have a politeness marker that is please. I think it's an adverb, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Nope. Particles. Please. It's what's called a particle. Something that has specific meaning here. I'm not sure how to define particle. Anyway, you can put please. And then this is the way we mark. Unfortunately, this isn't automatically analyzed, so we have this notation with the underscore. Anything after an underscore is not automatically handled by the computer. It's a note to the phase 2 person. So this would convert to let's go. Here I put inclusive we, so that means they're saying let's go with you, Elijah. So let's all go, inclusive, to River Jordan. And rivers are represented by river dash the name, and this isn't totally consistent. Like we don't have nation named Israel or something like that, but for river and mountain, I think it's done that way. So it's river dash Jordan. It's the name of a river. So please, let's go to the Jordan. Each of us can find or obtain a tree trunk there. Another option is we will each cut down a tree, and we cut wood timber together. So, I'm wondering about this. Is it really a tree or a tree trunk? The NASB has each of us from there a beam. Let's see what the handbook says. A log. The most likely sense is that each of the men would cut down a tree so that they would have poles or lumber for building a place to dwell. Okay, so the Hebrew down translated log may refer to a beam, as in the New American Bible, depending on the context. They mention these other possibilities. So, okay, I'm going to pause while I type out something here now. Okay, this is what I came up with. Each of us exclusive, so they're not counting on Elijah working maybe, but that was suggested here in the display version. It says exclusive. Each of us will cut down a tree in order to get wood. So, so here in the NASB, it had take from there a beam. So I feel good about this in order to get wood here. Um, and they had here uh, tree trunk or tree or wood or timber. So I think this is pretty clear. Okay, so let's look at the next sentence. And let us build then we can build a place that is big enough for us all, or so that we can build a new, different meeting place where new or different is implicit information. Then we could make a bigger or better, where that's implicit information, building in which to gather. Okay, so I'm going to pause it and type something out and then talk about it. Okay, I actually spent a while thinking about this sentence. Um, One of the issues that I'm struggling with here is that he talks about a place. The place where we meet is not good. It is too small. And then in the TND it says, let's build a place. I'm a little bit uncomfortable talking about building a place. Um, a place is like the spatial location. You build a structure or a building. I think that the reason they talk about it being a place is because they want it to be vague as to exactly what it is. Is it a building? Is it some kind of outdoor amphitheater or what? We don't really know. Um, so uh, they say here, build a big enough place for us, or down here, make a bigger place in which to gather, assemble. Even though the NIV goes with to live there, I chose to follow the TND here and use a place to meet. And I left it vague, but I made it a structure. Then we, exclusive, again, it's saying we can build, exclusive. We will be able to make, I use make a structure to keep it from being necessarily a building, make a big structure uh, so that we would be able to meet in that structure. That would be in English, to meet there. Again, I use this form of meet C. You probably don't need to mark the sense because there's no object to this verb, it would probably assume that it's this sense. And note that can or could, we use be able. And then, so we can make a big structure or be able. And then there are three forms of so that. So I discussed this in one of my earlier videos. But one of them is so that would, so that something would happen. You can do so that something could happen. Oh, in fact, this would be better. I'm going to change it. So that we could, that will, we can get rid of that meet if we use could and get rid of an extra clause there. So that we could meet in that structure. Then we will be able to make a big structure so that we could meet in that structure. Okay. So that does for that one. Now, then it says, and he said, go. Elijah said, you can go. Or Elijah answered, all right, that's a good idea. Go ahead and do that. This is some implicit information. That's a good idea. Elisha agreed that they could go. Now, one thing is we use the paragraph markings based on NIV. That's how we've been doing it. So usually when there's a different speaker, NIV makes a new paragraph. So we're going to make a new paragraph there. I'm going to put underscore paragraph. Okay, and then I'll type in something and we'll discuss it. Okay, I've typed in something now. note first of all that I had forgotten to put an end quote. So the prophets ended their speech to Elisha. So I have to put that before this paragraph marking. Okay, now, so this is what I decided. I said, so Elisha replied. Now, notice that one of the choices here was, so Elisha answered. So we don't use the word answer unless there's a question. So they didn't really ask a question. They said, please let us go, or let's go, then we can do something. It's not really in the form of a question. So we wouldn't use answered. They also say said, and we could have used said. We could have used said. But we also have a word replied, so that means to respond to something that somebody said, and I'm going to use that here. Now I forgot to put the left bracket here, starting a quote. We always do that, and at the end of the first sentence, we put a right bracket. So, oops, wrong sentence. The first sentence was this one, go. Okay, now, so the first option was you can go. Now, I don't really like that because if I said you are able to go, it would have a little bit different meaning than you can go. I think what you can go means is you have permission to go, or I give you permission, or I allow you to go, is what you can go really means. If we try to dig into what the meaning is. So I didn't really like that. He says go ahead, so that's more of an imperative. You go ahead and go. If we look at the NASB, it just says, so he said go. So I'm going to express it that way, which, in other words, it's easier to do it more literally here than to do what the display version says. So I wrote it as an imperative. You people, paren, that's how we write second person, imperative marker, go. By the way, in this summary of notation, it didn't have an entry for the imperative marker, so I added it yesterday after I did our notation, that this is how you say imperative. Okay, so you put this imperative marker and then you put the verb. So this means go. Now, there's some other material here. That is a good idea. Go ahead and do that. So in here, it put this implicit information first. That's a good idea. Go ahead. I reverse the order because I want to keep the introduction to the quote as literal text. So Elisha replied, go. And so I'm going to add some extra implicit sentences here. And you do that thing. So see, go ahead and do that. That's expressing that. That idea is good. So I'm expressing both of these implicit information ideas here. Okay, so that finishes off how I did 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 2, just doing the phase 1 for this.